2 years into her tenure as police chief, Danielle Outlaw says the Portland Police Bureau's relationship with the community is getting better, but that doesn't mean there aren't still some problems. Fox 12's Simon Gutierrez sat down with the chief in a rare interview to talk about the challenges of policing in Portland.
Portland is a city that has a long history of conflict between the community and the police department, from a settlement on use of force with the Department of Justice to ongoing protests and officer-involved shootings. The woman at the top of the bureau acknowledges all of that and says there's been real progress on all fronts.
2 years into her job as Portland's top cop, Chief Danielle Outlaw says it's been a journey.
I came in here thinking, okay, here's my plan for the first 90 days, and then I'll go back after 90 days and assess. All that was thrown out the window almost immediately.
Navigating the fraught relationship between the Bureau and the community it's tasked to protect by feel.
Given the history between the police department and the community over time, I've been told flat out the police department's not going to automatically get the benefit of the doubt.
With continued criticism of the Bureau's use of force during protests, which has resulted in lawsuits against the city, and also the Bureau's differing response to different groups of demonstrators. In particular, images in 2018 of officers with their backs to protesters aligned with the far right.
After August 4th in 2018, that's when I started to hear a lot of, you're siding with white nationalists, and you turned your back to white nationalists and you use force on counter demonstrators.
My first thoughts were, man, what a missed opportunity.
Nikenge Harmon Johnson is president of the Urban League of Portland. She says officers' actions on the streets often don't match up with the city's progressive reputation.
The community sees ourselves in one way, but our police bureau sees itself in a completely different way.
Do you think some of the criticism is unfair?
Some of it is, but I'll also say this, and I want to be clear. We want to be held accountable.
Outlaw has also faced the challenge of building or rebuilding trust among communities of color. When she first took over as chief, she mandated implicit bias training for all officers.
Although I'm a black woman, for many, I still represent the system that's unjust to many. The good news is that I bring a perspective as a black woman. I've experienced what a lot of people are talking about. I know that systems are broken.
When she took the job as chief, Outlaw says her marching orders were to strengthen the relationship between the Bureau and the community. 2 years in, she feels there's been progress.
And I don't know if I'll ever be able to have a way to say, okay, I think we're there. But I see over time, again, I've been told we don't get the benefit of the doubt anymore, but the communication flow has been a lot better. That's a win. I'll take a win wherever I can get a win.
Chief Outlaw says one of the Bureau's biggest challenges going forward is staffing. The Bureau was down more than 100 sworn officers earlier this year. That's stretching the officers on the streets to their limits. Reporting in studio, Simon Gutierrez, Fox 12 Oregon.